Dad's silent revenge.
When my son called me at 7:30 that Sunday morning to tell me he was getting married the next day, I didn't cry. I didn't beg. Hell, I actually laughed out loud. That sound surprised even me. My name is Gerald Torres. I'm 59 years old, and I've been a widower for 3 years now. When Vincent told me he'd just withdrawn all my money and sold my rental house, that laugh just bubbled up from somewhere deep inside. You see, what my boy didn't know was that the house he just sold for $340,000 wasn't actually mine to sell. Let me back up a bit. I spent 32 years working the line at Ford's Dearborn plant, the last 8 as a floor supervisor. Before that, I did 2 tours in Vietnam with the Marines. Point is, I know how to spot trouble coming, and I sure as hell know how to document everything. When you're dealing with union contracts and management trying to screw the working man, you learn real quick that paperwork is your best friend. After my wife Helen passed from cancer 3 years back, I took a part-time job at Henderson's Hardware just to keep busy. The pension covers my needs, and I had $127,000 saved up from Helen's life insurance, and my 401k, not rich, but comfortable for a guy like me. Vincent, my only kid, is 35 and works selling insurance for some big company downtown. Always been ambitious, maybe too ambitious if you ask me. 3 months before that Sunday call, he started coming around more, asking about my finances. It was right after my birthday in July. Dad, I've been thinking, he said, sitting in my kitchen with a cup of coffee, you're getting older, living alone. What if you forgot to pay a bill or something? Let me help you set up automatic payments. I'm 59, Vince, not 89, I told him, but he kept pushing. Mom would have wanted me to look after you, he said. That got me. Helen always worried about me managing things on my own, so I gave Vincent access to my checking account, the one with about $4,200 for monthly expenses. Not my savings, just the checking. Thanks, Dad, he said. This really helps me worry less. 6 weeks later, in early September, Vincent brought his girlfriend over for dinner. Patricia Adams, 29 years old, sharp as a tack and twice as cold. We sat at my dining room table and I served up some pot roast. Patricia barely touched her food, but she sure was interested in everything else. This is a lovely home, Gerald, she said. Never asked permission to use my first name. Houses like this in this neighborhood must be worth, what, $500,000? Haven't had it appraised lately, I said. Vincent laughed. Patricia's in real estate, always checking property values. Later, while I was doing dishes, I heard Patricia on her phone in the living room. My house has thin walls, and she wasn't exactly whispering. Yeah, he's got money, she was saying. The house alone is worth at least $500,000. Plus, Vincent says he has savings. Never remarried after his wife died, so it all goes to Vincent eventually anyway. I stood there, hands in soapy water, listening to this woman talk about my death like it was a business opportunity. Vincent must have heard too, because I heard him say, Patricia, keep your voice down. Sorry, babe, she said, not sounding sorry at all. Red flags were going off in my head, but I told myself young people just talk different about money these days. Didn't necessarily mean anything bad. 2 weeks later, Vincent emailed me some papers. Important documents, please sign. The subject line said, 4 PDFs, 15 pages each, full of legal jargon that made my eyes cross. Thing is, I'd been sick that week. Pneumonia landed me in Ford Hospital for 4 days in mid-September. Fever hit 104 degrees, and I was pretty out of it. When I called Vincent about the papers, he said, just insurance forms, Dad. You signed them in the hospital on the 16th. Had a notary come in. Don't you remember? Your fever was really high. I tried to remember that day, but everything was foggy. Vague impressions of voices, of holding a pen, but the memories were like smoke. I should have hired a lawyer right then, but he was my son. Surely I could trust him, right? That was my first real mistake. Sunday, October 27th, 7:30 a.m. I was sitting at my kitchen table with my coffee, checking my accounts online like I do every Sunday morning. The page loaded and my blood went cold. Checking account, $327, down from $4,200, 3 separate withdrawals to Vincent on October 25th and 26th, totaling $3,873. Savings account, $1,000, down from $127,316. The transaction history made me sick. October 24th, $50,000 to Vincent Torres. October 24th, $40,000 to Vincent Torres. October 25th, $30,360,316 to Vincent Torres. 3 transfers over 2 days, leaving just enough to keep the account open. My hands were shaking when my phone rang. Vincent's name on the screen. Hey Dad, great news. I'm getting married tomorrow. Patricia and I decided not to wait. Small ceremony at Riverside Country Club. My throat felt like sandpaper. Vincent, I said, my bank accounts, that? Yeah, I needed the money for the wedding and our down payment on a condo. You'll be fine on Social Security, right? You took $130,000 total. Dad, technically, I had authorization. Those papers you signed gave me power of attorney. You authorized the withdrawals. I was delirious with fever. That's not how the bank sees it. His voice got hard like when he was a teenager trying to get away with something. I'm your son. Everything you have comes to me eventually anyway. I just needed it sooner. Patricia and I are building our future. What about my house? Oh right, I sold that too. 1247 Oak Street, got $340,000 for it. Great price actually. The buyers take possession in 30 days, so you need to be out by Thanksgiving. Maybe look into one of those senior living places. That's when I started laughing. Started small, but grew until tears were rolling down my cheeks. Dad, what's so funny? Vincent, I said, wiping my eyes, do you have any idea what you just did? I sold your rental property. So what? You sold property you don't own with tenants who have a valid lease using fraudulent documents obtained by exploiting your sick father. That's theft, fraud, and forgery. 3 felonies. Dad, don't be dramatic. I'm your son. Have a nice wedding, Vincent. Enjoy it. It's going to be the last happy day you have for a very long time. I hung up and went straight to my filing cabinet. Inside were the deeds to 2 properties. My house at 856 Maple Drive and 12047 Oak Street, the rental. I also had the lease agreement. Larry and Susan Cooper had been renting that place for 2 years, with 18 months left on their current lease at $2,000 a month. Vincent had sold a house with sitting tenants without disclosing the lease to the buyers. When those buyers found out, they'd have grounds for a fraud lawsuit. I opened up my laptop and started typing. Timeline of financial fraud, Vincent Torres. Then I began documenting everything, just like I used to do when we had disputes with management at the plant. Monday morning, 9 a.m., I called my credit union. I need to report fraud. I told the representative. Complete records of all transactions for the past 6 months. I'm so sorry, Mr. Torres, she said. We'll investigate immediately. You'll have documentation of the power of attorney within 3 business days. 10 a.m., I called Stanley Wilson, a lawyer I knew from the neighborhood. Stan, my son stole my savings and fraudulently sold my property. I need legal representation. How much are we talking about, Gerald? $130,000 in theft, $340,000 in fraudulent sale proceeds. Jesus, come to my office at 2 p.m. 11 a.m., I called Larry Cooper at the rental house. Larry, I need to tell you something upsetting. My son sold your house without my permission using forged documents. Silence. Then, he what? I explained everything. Larry's voice was tight with anger when he said, some stranger thinks they bought our house. Your lease is valid and binding. You're protected. But I wanted you to know immediately. That afternoon in Stanley's office, he listened to my story without interrupting. When I finished, he took off his glasses and rubbed his eyes. Gerald, your son has committed multiple felonies, grand theft, fraud, forgery. This isn't just civil court. This is criminal. He could face 5 to 10 years in prison. I know, are you sure about this? He's your son. I looked him straight in the eye. He stole my life savings and tried to make me homeless. What kind of son does that? Stanley pulled out a legal pad. First, we file fraud reports. Second, we contact the title company. Third, we file a police report. You can request investigation before pressing charges. What about the buyers? They'll sue Vincent for fraud. He'll be liable for the full purchase price plus damages. Good. We spent 2 hours preparing documents. By the time I left, I'd filed fraud claims with the credit union and title company. The police report would be filed the next day. My phone buzzed as I was driving home. Text from Vincent. Dad, why is the bank calling about fraud? What's going on? I texted back. The bank flagged the withdrawals as suspicious standard procedure. But I'm your son. Tell them it's fine. Is it fine, Vincent? You took $130,000 without asking. I had your permission. It's borrowed money. We'll pay you back. I stared at that word borrowed like it was written in a foreign language. You don't borrow without asking first. That evening, my old buddy Lawrence Parker came over with a bottle of beer and a listening ear. I told him everything. His face went from shock to fury to something like pride. That absolute piece of garbage, he said, but Gerald, you're handling this exactly right. That boy needs to learn there are consequences. The worst part isn't the money, I said. It's that he thought I was too old or stupid to fight back. Lawrence raised his beer. He's about to learn his old man is neither stupid nor weak. Tuesday night, Vincent texted again, Dad, please come to the wedding tomorrow. I want you there. Let's not fight over money. I stared at that message for a long time, then typed back, I'll be there. Let him think everything was fine. Let him marry his calculating bride with my stolen money. Let him believe he'd gotten away with it. I'd smile, take pictures, play the proud father, and then when he least expected it, I'd show him what happens when you steal from Gerald Torres. The wedding was exactly what I expected: expensive, showy, and paid for entirely with my money. Riverside Country Club, white roses everywhere, crystal chandeliers. I showed up in my best suit, brought a wrapped gift, a framed photo of Vincent as a baby that Helen had taken. Vincent looked genuinely happy when he saw me. "Dad, you came. I knew you'd understand." Patricia looked stunning in a dress that probably cost $8,000. My $8,000. When she saw me, her smile was sharp as broken glass. "Gerald, so glad you decided not to be difficult." Vincent was worried. "Wouldn't miss it for the world," I said. I sat through the ceremony, watched my son promise to love and cherish this woman who'd helped him betray his own father. During the reception, I made small talk, drank champagne I couldn't taste, and counted the money they were spending. The flowers alone were probably $12,000. The champagne, another $2,000. The cake, $1,500. This wedding cost at least $40,000 of my money, reasonable for their budget after the down payment on the condo. Just as they were cutting the cake, my phone buzzed. Text from Stanley. "Police investigation opened. Fraud charges being prepared. Title company confirms notary seal was fake. The notary was in California when she supposedly witnessed your signature in Michigan. We have him." I looked at Vincent, laughing with his groomsmen, completely clueless. Not yet, I thought. Let him enjoy this moment. It would be his last happy one for a long time. 3 days later, Halloween. How fitting. Vincent and Patricia showed up at my door unannounced. Vincent looked furious. Patricia ice cold. "What the hell did you do?" Vincent demanded, pushing past me into my living room. "The title company froze the money from the house sale. They're saying the power of attorney was forged." "Maybe because it was forged," I said calmly. "You signed those papers. I was there. You took advantage of your dying father, Vincent." I signed blank papers while delirious with fever. Patricia stepped forward. "This is ridiculous, Gerald. You're old. You can't manage your finances anymore. We were helping you by stealing $130,000. It's not stealing if you're too senile to manage it yourself," she said, her mask finally slipping. "Vincent is your son. Everything you have should go to him eventually anyway." I kept my voice steady. "So this was your plan. Find a man with a wealthy parent, manipulate him into stealing from his father. Don't talk about Patricia like that," Vincent snapped. "Drop these accusations," Patricia said, "or we'll make your life hell. We'll tell everyone you have dementia. We'll have you declared incompetent." "Is that a threat?" "It's a promise," Vincent said, stepping closer. "I'm trying to be nice here, Dad. Just tell the bank you made a mistake." For a moment, I felt genuine fear. Not of their threats, I had evidence on my side, but of what my son had become. This angry, threatening man wasn't the boy I'd raised. "Get out of my house," I said. "Both of you," now. They left. Patricia spitting curses. Vincent's face twisted with rage. I called Stanley that night. File the police report. Press full charges. The next week, Detective Arthur Nelson took my statement. He was thorough, professional, and increasingly disturbed by what he heard. "Mr. Torres, I've seen a lot of elder financial abuse cases. This is one of the most calculated I've encountered. The credit union's investigation confirmed what I suspected. The power of attorney documents were fraudulent. The notary seal belonged to someone whose license had expired, and she was in California on September 16th, not Michigan. My signature was shaky, inconsistent with my normal handwriting. The weeks crawled by. Stanley kept me updated on the investigation's progress. The title company's lawyers were building their case against Vincent. The buyers of my rental property were preparing their own lawsuit. Vincent's whole house of cards was collapsing right before Thanksgiving. Something unexpected happened. A woman called me, nervous voice, said she had information about Vincent I needed to know. "Mr. Torres, I'm Dorothy Wilson. I think Vincent is your son." "Yes, he is. I mean, he's the father of my daughter, Sophie. She's 5 years old. Vincent and I dated in college, and when I got pregnant, he told me to get an abortion. When I refused, he disappeared. My heart nearly stopped. I have a granddaughter. Yes, sir, Sophie's been asking about her daddy her whole life. 2 years ago, I sued Vincent for child support. The court ordered him to pay $80,000 in back support plus $1,500 a month going forward. He paid the $80,000 last year. I think that's when he started stealing from you. Everything clicked into place. Vincent hadn't just stolen my money for a wedding and condo. He'd stolen it to pay off Dorothy, to keep his secret child hidden from Patricia's wealthy family, Mrs. Wilson. I'd like to meet Sophie. The next day, I drove to Dorothy's small apartment on the east side. Dorothy was 33, tired-looking but kind. She worked double shifts as a waitress to support herself and Sophie. Sophie Rose Torres was the most beautiful little girl I'd ever seen. Dark curls like her mother, but Vincent's brown eyes and Helen's smile. She was shy at first, hiding behind Dorothy's legs. "Sophie, this is your grandfather," Dorothy said gently. "Your daddy's father." Sophie peeked out at me with those serious 5-year-old eyes. "My daddy has a daddy?" "Yes, sweetheart, and I've been looking forward to meeting you for a very long time." She studied my face carefully, then asked, "Do you know where my daddy is?" "Mommy says he lives far away." My heart broke. "He's made some grown-up mistakes, Sophie, but I promise you things are going to get better." Dorothy and I talked while Sophie colored pictures at her little table. Vincent had been paying the court-ordered support, but nothing extra. No birthday cards, no Christmas presents, no phone calls. He treated this beautiful child like she didn't exist. "I never wanted to hurt him," Dorothy said. "I just wanted help raising Sophie. She asks about her father every single day." I looked at my granddaughter, carefully coloring inside the lines of a picture she'd drawn of a family, Mina, a mommy, a little girl, and space where a daddy should be. "Dorothy, I want to be part of Sophie's life. Whatever Vincent has done. She's innocent. She's family." For the first time since this whole nightmare began, I felt something other than anger. I felt purpose. December came, and with it, Vincent's arraignment. I sat in the gallery of Franklin County Court, watching my son stand before Judge Patricia Martinez in handcuffs. He looked terrible, hollow-eyed, unshaven, broken. Stanley presented our evidence methodically: bank records, forged documents, expert testimony about the fraudulent notary seal. The case against Vincent was airtight. Vincent's expensive lawyer tried to argue diminished capacity, family emergency, anything to reduce the charges, but the facts were the facts. "Your Honor," I said when the judge asked if I wanted to make a statement, "I'd like to tell the court about Sophie." Vincent's head snapped up, panic in his eyes. Vincent has a 5-year-old daughter he's never acknowledged. A little girl who asks about her daddy every day. He stole my money not just for his wedding, but to pay child support he owed, trying to keep his daughter secret from his new wife's family. The courtroom was silent. Vincent's lawyer was whispering urgently, but Vincent shook his head. "Your Honor," Vincent said, his voice breaking, "I need to make a statement." Judge Martinez looked surprised. "Go ahead, Mr. Torres." Vincent stood, tears streaming down his face. "I have a 5-year-old daughter named Sophie Rose. Her mother is Dorothy Wilson. I abandoned them when Dorothy was pregnant because I was ashamed, because Patricia's family has money and wouldn't accept a man with a secret child." Patricia, sitting behind him, gasped. "What?" 2 years ago, Dorothy sued me for child support. The court ordered me to pay $80,000 in back support. I didn't have it. I panicked. So I stole from my father to pay her off, to hide my mistakes. The truth hung in the air like smoke. Vincent collapsed back into his chair, sobbing. Patricia stood abruptly and walked out, her heels clicking on marble. Their 3-week marriage was over before the gavel fell. Judge Martinez studied Vincent for a long moment. "Mr. Torres, I appreciate your honesty, however belated. This court will recess while you speak with your attorney about your options." When they reconvened an hour later, Vincent pled guilty to all charges. The judge was stern but fair. "Vincent Torres, you exploited your sick father's trust, forged legal documents, and committed grand theft. You also abandoned your parental responsibilities. However, I see genuine remorse and a willingness to take accountability." She paused, looking directly at Vincent. "I sentence you to 18 months in county jail plus 5 years supervised probation. You will make full restitution to your father, $130,000 plus interest, to be paid over 10 years. You will also establish a legal custody arrangement with Miss Wilson and attend mandatory counseling." Vincent nodded, accepting his fate. As the bailiff led him away, he looked back at me. "I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. Be the father Sophie deserves," I called out. "That's how you make this right." The next 18 months were quiet. I visited Vincent twice in jail, not to forgive him, but to make sure he understood what needed to happen when he got out. He had to step up for Sophie. He had to become the man Helen and I thought we'd raised. Vincent got out in August, thinner but clear-eyed. He'd used his time inside to get sober, finish his GED, and take correspondence courses in accounting. Patricia had long since divorced him and moved back to her parents in California. His first stop after release was Dorothy's apartment to see Sophie. I was there waiting. Sophie was 6 now, about to start 1st grade. When Vincent walked in, she studied him with those serious eyes, trying to remember if she'd seen this man before. "Are you my daddy?" she asked, finally. Vincent knelt down to her level, tears already flowing. "Yes, sweetheart. I'm your daddy, and I'm so sorry I've been away, but I'm here now, and I'm never leaving again." That was 14 months ago. Vincent's been true to his word. He found work as a bookkeeper at a small firm, pays his child support religiously, and sees Sophie every weekend. He sends me $1,100 a month toward what he owes. It'll take him 12 years to pay it all back, but that's fine by me. More importantly, he's building a real relationship with Sophie. She calls me Grandpa Jerry now, and most Sundays, Vincent brings her over to my house. We work in the garden together, the 3 generations of Tori's family slowly healing. Last Sunday, while Vincent was fixing my back fence and Sophie was helping me plant roses, she asked me a question that stopped me cold. Grandpa Jerry, why did Daddy go away when I was a baby? I looked at this beautiful little girl, so much like Helen it hurt, and chose my words carefully. Your daddy made some bad choices, sweetheart, grown-up mistakes. But the important thing is he's here now and he loves you very much. Mommy says everyone makes mistakes. She says what matters is saying sorry and trying to be better. Your mommy is very wise. Sophie smiled, Vincent smiled, Helen smiled, and went back to digging holes for the rose bushes. Later, after they'd gone home, I sat on my porch with a beer, thinking about everything that had happened. Vincent had stolen my life savings, yes. But in fighting back, I'd gained something more valuable than money. I'd gained a granddaughter. The house on Oak Street is back in my name. The buyers sued Vincent and won, but since he had no assets, they eventually settled with the title company's insurance. I sold the house to them for the original price as a gesture of goodwill. My savings account is slowly rebuilding, thanks to Vincent's payments and my pension. I'm comfortable, if not rich, but the real treasure is Sophie. Watching her grow, seeing her light up when Vincent picks her up for their weekends together, hearing her call me Grandpa, that's worth more than any amount of money. Vincent's different now. Humbler, more honest, working hard to be the father Sophie deserves. He'll never be the ambitious young man he was before, but maybe that's not such a bad thing. Ambition without character had nearly destroyed him. Dorothy and I have become friends. She still works hard to support Sophie, but now she has help. Vincent pays his support. I help with school clothes and activities, and Sophie has the family she always deserved. Last month, on Sophie's 7th birthday, the 3 of us, Dorothy, Vincent, and I watched her blow out her candles. She made a wish, then looked around the table at all the adults who love her. What did you wish for, sweetheart? Dorothy asked. Sophie grinned. I can't tell you, or it won't come true, but it already did. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's holding people accountable until they become who they're supposed to be. Vincent stole my money, but in demanding justice, I helped him find something more valuable, his integrity. At 61, I've learned that real love doesn't enable bad behavior. Real love sets boundaries. Real love says, do better. Be better, and I'll be here when you do. That's what fathers do. That's what grandfathers do. And that's what the Torres family does now. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone isn't forgiveness, it's consequences that force them to become better than they thought they could be. Real strength isn't about getting even with people who hurt you. It's about loving them enough to hold them accountable until they find their way back to who they're supposed to be.